Welcome to today's podcast. I am in the Cook Islands, the beautiful Cook Islands, and this time I am with Reangi Mityra Johnson, correct?
Correct.
Yes, and she is a chef on this island, highly sought after, and I am so glad that you have a moment to speak with me today. This podcast is sponsored by Far and Away Adventures. For over 30 years, I've helped travelers explore the destinations highlighted in this podcast. To have an expert plan your next vacation, contact farandawayadventures.com or check out the show notes. I've heard some wonderful things about your island cooking and the creations that you make here on the island. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about food, a little bit about your story as well. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Well, Reangi, can you just tell me a little bit about how you got started with food and cooking as a chef?
Yeah. Well, I think food and cooking and families are connected. And for us in the Cook Islands, the connection is also with land and then the extended family. So whenever there's food, it brings in family.
Everyone comes together for food, don't they?
And then it brings on memories. You're making memories. And then you're remembering the people that first introduced you to those types of foods. So every time we get together, we're sharing stories, we're sharing moments and creating new memories.
Do you have some really memorable occasions where you, maybe even your family or others, have been kind of brought together through maybe some of the meals that you've prepared? Anything?
I think they've all been different, so I can't really say that one stands out the most. So what's really great about it is that, they're all different. So they're all special. Yeah. And with different kind of sides or groups of your family coming together, and make it so special. Yeah.
Are there any celebrations that you really love to put together a feast for?
I like it when it's my closest family, my immediate family, because we bring together, I always make sure that different people bring in different foods and not just one person brings in everything, because we're all skilled in different types of food, or we celebrate certain dishes. So when we bring that together, you know it's made with love. You know that it's made in season. So the food is bound to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, can you tell me a little bit about what you like, your cooking style, or the types of things that you love to cook? I know you like herbs and you have your own herb garden.
Yes. So I like cooking traditional food, but I like to move it up a notch and make it a little bit more palatable for visitors to appreciate and take part in.
Not everybody's used to taro.
No, not everyone, because they find it quite bland. So I do different things where I turn it into a hash brown or something, or add something else to it to make it just a little bit special. Yeah. So I enjoy that. I enjoy the creative side of looking at something that might be a little bit plain, and then knowing what other people eat overseas. How can I make it interesting for them to say, oh, I want to try that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that looks a bit like something that they come from. So with that, that's the part that I play.
Now, what types of kind of venues are you using? I mean, as far as what types of people are you cooking your meals for?
Oh, all sorts of people. Visitors like yourself. It might be a couple that's just getting married. It can be a celebration for a birthday. So families from overseas and families from here get together and they plan things and they want something special and they want something from the island. So with that in mind, it's got to be something that's traditional, but it's got to look really nice and elegant and amazing for them. So we have a lot of dishes that are from around the Pacific, like ceviche style raw fish. So in the Cook Islands, we call it ikamata, where it's marinated with a little bit of lemon juice for a little while. A few vegetables and herbs are added to it, and then it's tossed together in freshly grated coconut cream.
Wow.
And that's lovely. I mean, there's all different. In Tahiti, they have their own little versions as well, where they had poisson creux, poisson chinois, with the introduction of sesame oil. And sometimes it's just the vinegar and sugar brine to lift the flavor up. And, if you haven't traveled overseas, then you will get, oh, I don't want to try it because you're only used to one thing.
Yeah.
But because the Cook Islands people travel a lot, they're quite open-minded to a lot of the new dishes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we've got so many eateries on this little island.
I see them everywhere.
Yeah, so in different pockets of the island, we have all sorts of flavors of food here. But there isn't really anything that focuses on really Cook Island food,
Yeah.
because you'll find it even a lot of our island night feasts, they have the introduction of other things inside them.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's just a stepping stone for next time when people come around.
Yeah.
I hope that more places can think about introducing something a little bit more authentic, or just
Such as what? What types of things do you think that?
Mityra. So
Yeah.
Mityra is shellfish. A shellfish, it might be or octopus or a clam of some sort. That's we have grated coconut,
Yeah.
and then we get little crabs, and the kids collect them at night. It's called
Okay, so they're
corpus.
little tiny crabs, yeah?
We collect them, and then we squeeze them, so the juice that comes out from them slightly ferments the coconut. It just has a very light flavor. What we do is we toss in our octopus or our crab meat inside with a bit of spring onions. Yeah, and it only takes like 20 minutes to ferment.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one dish.
Yeah.
And it's really well known just in the southern group, not really in the northern group. So even though there's 15 islands, we have a northern group and a southern group. Some of the foods are different.
Yeah.
Really, really different. And that's because of their the vegetation, the island, the soil. Because the southern group has a lot of soil, but the northern group is
It's
coral.
mostly coral, so they don't
know
have
that.
the soils and the landscape or a lot of the
Yeah.
fruits and vegetables.
We don't have a lot of fruits and vegetables, but what we do have is coconut. So you'll find in the northern group, a lot of the people in the northern group utilize the coconut, the different stages of coconut, in different meals.
It's a lot of seafood diet.
A lot of seafood.
Yeah.
But in the southern group, it's a lot of heavy meat and a lot of vegetation like taro, sweet potatoes, arrow, cassava.
Yeah.
So there's starchy food, right?
Now you have some of your roots in the Northern Islands. How has that contributed to the types of things that you cook?
Well, quite a lot actually, because
And tell me a little bit about the island you grew up on.
yeah. Well, I actually grew up in New Zealand,
Yeah.
but my home is in the northern group where I have a big house to it.
Okay.
And some of the foods I actually that I make that I do for my cocktails or canapé evenings
Yeah.
are foods that are from the northern group that people would never taste before. But I like to introduce it to people to give them that wow factor and to think, wow, is that from the Cook Island? We're in the Cook Island.
Yeah.
tasted
But there's
that
like over
before.
15 of these islands,
Yes,
and
yes.
people live in different areas and they
That's
eat
right.
different things.
So inside the coconut when it's mature and it has a little marshmallowy thing, that's the embryo of the coconut.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of white foamy thing. So in the northern group we grate it and then we turn it into loaves or we turn it into little pancakes like a hacked brown. So and that's a staple part of our diet, like our potatoes, because we don't have potatoes. So we have that loaf or we have that bread. It's called uto.
Yeah.
Uto. So I turned it into a little canapé, and what I might do is put a sashimi on with a wasabi mayo. Or I might sear a tuna, sear a tuna and put it on. Or I might have pearl meat, so pearl meat isn't consumed or isn't in any restaurants here, but I have my secret stash. So what I do for a very elegant evening is I'll take the button part of it, which tastes a bit like scallop,
Okay.
and then I'll slice it thinly, and then I'll just make a simple brine with lemon juice and brown sugar, Then I'll just add some fine herbs inside and finely sliced shallot. Just toss them around and serve it on a ceramic spoon.
Oh, wow. That sounds absolutely delicious.
No one does that.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean about something that's always been here, turn it into something that's quite elegant, just on another level, so people can go, wow.
Wonderful.
Right.
Well, I would imagine too, there are times where you just can't find perhaps some of the ingredients that you want.
All the time.
And what you do in those cases?
When creating a menu for people, overseas, you write out the menu, then you go and look for the ingredients. Where over here, what you have to do the opposite. You have to look at what's available first, and you create your menu based on that.
And I would think that a chef really, their skills are really put to the test when that is the case.
I mean, we run out of eggs here all the time. That's why I've got hens now laying my own eggs, because I don't want to run out of them.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, how long have you been doing this for?
Close to 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And how has it changed over that time?
Oh, it's changed immensely. I mean, I'm going to be 60 next year, but I find all the time, I find something new, discover something new, and most of the time it's something that belongs here.
Yeah.
So it's because I haven't traveled around to all the islands, but you pick up different things and new things, or old things that haven't surfaced because we don't have that appreciation for food anymore.
Yeah.
We've adopted the Western side of things. We've got a taste for Western food. So what we've done, we've ditched our own food and recognize outside food.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when something resurfaces again, I just think, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to do something about that. Bring it back up again. Yeah.
Well, I see you need to be very creative in this environment, being on this specific island. But with the things that maybe you don't find very often here, it does add to the opportunity, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
meals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes you think a lot, think harder, and makes you want to be more creative, pushes you to that state where when you go to bed, you can't stop thinking about how can I make it better? How can I do that? How can I improve? What do you think I should add to it? What's available now? Where can I get this ingredient from? Oh, I'm going to ring so-and-so up and maybe I'll ask them if they've got any. Yeah.
Well, you're a true chef, because I'm sure most people aren't thinking about those types of things when they go to bed at night.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today to share your experiences with the tastes of the islands and also your love for these beautiful Cook Islands. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for tuning in. Discover your next unforgettable adventure at farandawadventures.com. Experience the world differently.